Hello and welcome to Report World News. My name is Barnona Zarzoda. Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev on Monday announced the planned transformation of Uzbekistan Airways and Uzbekistan airports in a bid to improve the effectiveness of these companies. Davron Jumayev has the details.
New measures aim at reducing the expenses of Uzbekistan Airways by $46.5 million. The staff of the company and its structural organizations are set to be optimized. A total of 12 unused aircraft are to be decommissioned. The fee of foreign agents for the sale of air tickets is also to be reduced. The introduction of new charter flights to popular destinations and cargo transportation on new routes. The possibility of online registration and seat selection on all domestic flights. All above, according to plans, would generate additional annual income at $40 million. In accordance with a new business strategy, the companies would switch to a hybrid service model, according to which part of the flights would be carried out on the principle of full service and another part on the principle of low-cost airlines. The government also plans to cancel business class on destinations with small demand. Low-cost flights on 4 A320 aircraft are to be launched from the third quarter of 2021. The company would also lease 3 Airbus A321 Neo LR airliners, increase the number of domestic flights from the current 17 to 49 per week. The whole system is to be completely digitized to create better convenience for passengers. As part of measures to improve the efficiency of Uzbekistan airports, all 11 airports that operate within the structure would be united under the management of a single regulator. To increase financial stability based on international experience, the government plans to reduce costs from 32% to 15%, optimize purchases and reduce airport fees by 27%, including up to 50% in the framework of pilgrimage tourism. Proposed for construction new cargo terminal at the Tashkent International Airport would increase revenue from trade and services, expand transit between Europe and East Asia.
China is intending to ramp up cooperation in the cotton industry with countries participating in the Belt and Road Initiative during the 14th five-year plan, China daily said with reference to a senior academic at the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences. This move is expected to reduce reliance on imported cotton from the United States and Australia.
Li Fu-Guang, head of the Academy's Institute of Cotton Research, said Central Asia's great potential in cotton production will help meet import demand of 2 million metric tons based on China's clothing textile needs and cotton production. Taking advantage of complementary countries in Central Asia will be conducive to a strong response to the trade conflicts between China and the US, and meanwhile promote implementation of the Belt and Road Initiative, Li said. Cotton production in Central Asia covers nearly 2 million hectares, and the environment there is similar to Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, which accounts for 84.9% of cotton production in China. If the cotton-making technology in Xinjiang is applied to Central Asian countries, the production in the region will see rapid development, Li said, adding that production is expected to increase by at least 5%. Demonstration technology parks have been established in Uzbekistan since 2018 to promote Chinese cotton growing technologies. Demand for irrigation water has dropped by 2/3, while yields have doubled, Li said. In the following 5 years, China is to focus on introducing the cotton cultivation technology to Uzbekistan and keep advancing it in Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, he added. The country plans to strengthen the collection and utilization of cotton germplasm resources, explore excellent gene sources, and create excellent resources with high yield, good quality, and wide adaptability, the Academy said. The China Cotton Industry Alliance, a non-profit organization led by the Institute, is expected to play a major role in improving cotton quality and integrating the entire industry chain. Since Soviet times, Uzbekistan was among the world leaders in terms of cotton production and its export, with China being the main importer. Earlier in March, Uzbekistan was named the world's 6th largest cotton producer. The country's exports plummeted 65.3% to $78.8 million in 2020, as against $227.6 million in 2019.
The permanent population of Uzbekistan reached 34.7 million people as of April the 1st, according to State Statistics Committee. The population of the country has grown for 136,700 people since the beginning of the year. Since start of the year, the population was growing for 45,900 people a month. If pace of population growth remains on the level of the first quarter, the population of Uzbekistan will exceed 35 million by the end of the year. The morning of April 25 will see UFC 261 in Jacksonville, Florida. The event is expected to see 3 championship matches in total. The main fight of the upcoming tournament will see the reigning welterweight champion Kamaru Usman defending his title against Jorge Masvidal. This is the second title fight for the fighters. Usman won Masvidal by decision on July last year at UFC 251. For Usman, the upcoming fight will be the 4th defense of the championship belt. Uzreport TV has acquired exclusive rights to broadcast the tournament on the territory of Uzbekistan. The live broadcast is scheduled to start at 6 a.m. Tashkent time. The capital of Uzbekistan, Tashkent, exported $800 million worth goods in 2020, said Sherzod Asadov, the spokesperson of Presidential Press Service, on Monday. According to him, this figure is expected to expand by the end of 2021.
$809 million worth of products were exported last year by the capital city, Tashkent. This year, export is expected to reach to $1 billion. In general, we are expecting that in 2021-2023, the volume of exports will exceed $3 billion. After reviewing the presentation, the head of state instructed to constantly monitor the implementation of each project, provide assistance to entrepreneurs in case of problems, and expand the export structure of the capital.
Uzbekistan, as we have recently announced, gained privileges for duty-free exports to EU through GSP Plus scheme. Accession to the GSP Plus grants Uzbekistan opportunity to export more than 6,200 commodity items to the EU countries duty-free. The representatives at the Embassy of Uzbekistan in the Brussels have commented on this achievement.
We welcome the President's recently accepted orders and decrees on preparing personnel and reforming the security sector, which are essential to support other transformation processes undergoing in Uzbekistan. I'd like to say that we're ready to become actively involved in these proceedings, which should comply with international standards and address the responsibilities of Uzbekistan. We'd like to partake in accordance with bilateral and regional programs. Such approach would allow exchanging experiences from the upcoming lessons derived from our similar processes. Uzbekistan can become a bright example of this kind of approach towards reforms, not only in the economic sector but also in the security sector. These reforms will create conditions to protect the rights of citizens, and it is one of the most important methods influencing the continuous development of Uzbekistan.
Being a part of GSP Plus and having more freedom and liberty there to export more items, it will be interesting to see how that changes the dynamic with some of the neighbouring countries around. Also looking at Uzbekistan as they're wanting to get accession to the WTO, and hopefully this GSP Plus will be very, very helpful in ordering to make that happen. And it will just be really wonderful to see more of the potential that the country has in all their industries, and overall just putting Uzbekistan's name on the map more, and really encouraging more production, more output, and it will just be really interesting to see how the country blossoms, and very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
In a bid to jointly upgrade the notary system of Uzbekistan, the Belarusian and the Uzbek notary chambers have inked a memorandum of cooperation. The document was signed by chairwoman of the Belarusian Chamber of Notaries Natalia Borisenko and chairman of the Notary Chamber of Uzbekistan Dilshod Ashurov on Monday. The virtual ceremony saw over 200 representatives of notary communities of Belarus and Uzbekistan. The two sides have been actively cooperating for several years. Tighter cooperation was prompted by reforms of the notary system in Uzbekistan. The sides intend to exchange hard copies of the memorandum soon.
India's COVID crisis is deteriorating even further, with the capital region Delhi entering a 6-day lockdown from Monday night. Daily cases nationwide also hit a new record of 273,810 and a new record of fatalities as well, over 1,600. The country's health system crumbling under the weight. India's hospitals face a shortage of beds, oxygen and medicines as infections pass the 15 million mark, second only to the United States. Delhi's chief minister told a virtual press meeting on Monday Delhi's health system is unable to take more patients in big numbers, adding if a lockdown isn't implemented now, the situation will go beyond control. He said on Sunday that there are less than 100 critical care beds available in New Delhi, a city with a population of more than 20 million people. The worsening situation has also led to British Prime Minister Boris Johnson cancelling a planned trip to India next week. Delhi joins around 13 other states across the country that have decided to impose restrictions, curfews or lockdowns in their cities. Criticism is continuing to mount on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's handling of the second wave, with religious festivals and election rallies still being attended by thousands.
Some bench conferences that you want to...
As the jury in the murder trial of ex-policeman Derek Chauvin began its deliberations on Monday, Minneapolis and other cities across the U.S. ramped up security measures, bracing for protests. Chauvin is charged with murdering George Floyd by kneeling on his neck last May. Floyd's fatal arrest has sparked nationwide anti-racism protests. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz declared a preemptive state of emergency in the Minneapolis metropolitan area and requested security assistance from other states.
We cannot allow civil unrest to descend into chaos. We must protect life and property. But we also must understand very clearly, if we don't listen to those communities in pain and those people on the streets, many of whom were arrested for speaking a fundamental truth, that we must change, or we will be right back here again.
Tensions in Minneapolis have been running high over the Chauvin trial, as well as the death of another black man, Daunte Wright, who was shot by police during a traffic stop in a suburb of the city. The judge overseeing the Chauvin trial criticized Representative Maxine Waters on Monday, who told protesters over the weekend to stay on the street and get more confrontational if Chauvin was found not guilty. District Judge Peter Cahill added that her remarks might have given grounds for appeal in the event of a conviction.
I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a manner that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial branch and our function.
Chauvin's defense lawyer requested a mistrial, arguing that Waters' comments had tainted the proceedings. The request was denied, but the judge said the concerns were legitimate.
This whole trial being overturned.
In the poor Johannesburg neighbourhood of Lawrenceville, recycling isn't just a way to protect the environment. It also puts food on the table. The community has struggled to survive during the global health crisis, but under an initiative by local charity Love Our City Clean, or LOC, residents like Tandeka Sibagnon can exchange bags of recycling for points to buy groceries.
I'm recycling because I'm helping the community. It is important for me because I also got food to help my family, because this lockdown, you see, things are not going well. We don't have food so this recycling is helping us to get at least a little bit of food to put on the table for the kids.
South Africa introduced a lockdown in March 2020. By April, 3 million people had lost their jobs, and 1 in 5 were going hungry, according to a survey by several South African universities. Charities, businesses and the government have all launched temporary feeding schemes, but LOC, which partnered with community-run organisation Makers Valley, said it wanted to find a solution that empowered people. Recycling is sold to big depots or private buyback centres. The money is then used to fund awareness campaigns and city cleanups. The groceries come from charities and retailers who have excess food. Co-founder Zwelise Magwaza said he wants the scheme to become part of the local lifestyle.
We want to teach the community to take that recyclable material, turn it into art, or create and upcycle and create other things with it that we sell at the market.
And the initiative appears to have inspired Lawrenceville residents. Some, like Tumelo Dichaba, have now got involved in another project, cleaning the city's biggest river, the Yuxke.
I made sure that I'm keeping it clean, so that even if, maybe let's say for example you want to walk around here, you can just walk free.
The River Initiative was launched at the end of last year to remove invasive species. It aims to build natural water filters to protect the river and create a green corridor for residents to enjoy with pride.
Two U.S. agencies on Monday said they were investigating Saturday's Tesla crash in Texas that left 2 dead, a crash which local police said appeared to have occurred with no one in the driver's seat. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board both said they would investigate the crash. According to local media reports, the 2019 Tesla Model S was traveling at high speed near Houston when it failed to round a curve and went off the road, crashing into a tree and bursting into flames. After the fire was extinguished, authorities located 2 occupants in the vehicle, with one in the front passenger seat and the other in the back seat of the Tesla. The crash occurred as scrutiny is increasing over Tesla's semi-automated autopilot driving system following recent crashes. Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat, wrote on Twitter that, quote, "Using Tesla's driverless system or any other shouldn't be a death risk. Advancements in driving technology must first and foremost be safe." He added that comprehensive oversight by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is paramount to prevent future semi-automated driving deaths. Just hours before the crash, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk tweeted to his more than 50 million followers, quote, "Tesla with autopilot engaged now approaching 10 times lower chance of accident than average vehicle." Tesla, whose shares were down 3.4% on Monday, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The company advises drivers to keep their hands on the steering wheel and pay attention while using autopilot, but some Tesla drivers say they are able to avoid putting their hands on the wheel for extended periods when using it.
Cuba's Communist Party elected a new leader on Monday, putting an end to the Castro era that's ruled the island nation since its 1959 revolution. President Miguel Díaz-Canel will step in for Raúl Castro, the brother of revolutionary leader Fidel Castro. Díaz-Canel said Castro will still be consulted on strategic decisions.
Compañero General de Ejército.
To an Army General, Raúl as he's known, on behalf of my colleagues and the Cuban people, thank you for the example set, for the drive, the strength, and the trust. Your support was very important throughout these years of learning and formation, which has allowed us today to assume the responsibilities that yourself and Fidel have made historic.
Marchemos. Fidel and Raúl Castro ruled Cuba for 6 decades after leading a communist revolution in 1959. Díaz-Canel now assumes the highest position in government as First Party Secretary. Some Havana residents applauded the handover, saying Díaz-Canel represented a younger generation. Others doubted much would change.
The only thing that's going to happen is that the Castros are gone. For me, it will be the same thing.
Díaz-Canel has emphasized continuity of the country's one-party socialist system, amid pressure to undertake economic reforms.
A pullback on Wall Street Monday ahead of an earnings deluge this week. The Dow lost 123 points, the S&P 500 gave up 22, the Nasdaq fell 137. That decline is nothing to worry about given the bright outlook for earnings, says Chad Morganlander, Senior Portfolio Manager and co-founder at Washington Crossing Advisors.
Because as the U.S. economy opens up, the global economy opens up, like the emerging markets, that's going to be a positive tailwind to S&P earnings as well as revenues. So I wouldn't get so concerned about today's trade. We should expect really good numbers this quarter and also good expectations going forward.
Looking at Monday's quarterly results, Coca-Cola topped profit and sales forecasts. The global soft drink giant saw volumes, a key indicator of demand, return to 2019 levels. But Coke was cautious about the future, which is still dependent on how the health crisis fares. Shares of Coke were little changed. Harley-Davidson beat profit expectations, and the motorcycle company posted its first quarterly sales increase in its #1 U.S. market in 6 years. Harley also boosted its profit forecast for the year, but it faces a speed bump in the European Union, where it faces a 56% import tariff even on products made inside the region. Shares of Harley-Davidson touched a 3-year high. Outside of earnings, a warning over the weekend from the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. It urged consumers with small children to stop using the Peloton Tread Plus treadmill. The warning came after reports of one death and dozens of children being sucked beneath the treadmill. Shares of Peloton fell 7%. Tesla was down after a deadly accident over the weekend. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board both said they would investigate the Model S crash in Texas. Local police said the car appeared not to have someone in the driver's seat. If that was the case, this would be the latest accident involving Tesla's autopilot semi-automated driving system. Shares of Tesla fell nearly 4%.
Japan's Toyota has signalled a shift in its climate change stance. It says it will review its lobbying and be more transparent on what steps it's taking. The carmaker is facing increased activist and investor pressure. Toyota was among major automakers that supported the Trump administration in 2019 in its attempt to bar California from setting its own fuel efficiency rules on zero-emission requirements. They have since dropped that support. Toyota said it would strive to provide more information so that our stakeholders can understand our effort to achieve carbon neutrality. 4 funds with about $235 billion in assets under management are pressuring Toyota before its annual shareholder meeting in June. They want the company to draw a line under its lobbying against international efforts to prevent catastrophic global warming. Jens Munch-Holst, the chief executive of Danish pension fund Akademiker Pension, told Reuters the move must not be a PR exercise. The fund says it will take action at next year's annual general meeting if Toyota fails to deliver on its commitment. It says the giant automaker has repeatedly undermined global action to prevent global warming, including opposing the UK government's ban on internal combustion engines by 2030 and opposing car fuel economy standards in the US. A Toyota spokeswoman told Reuters that it would need more time to respond to Munch-Holst's comments.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg said on Monday the company planned to launch several audio products, including a competitor to audio app, Clubhouse, and features for finding and playing podcasts. Speaking in an interview on Discord with journalist Casey Newton, Zuckerberg said the world's largest social media network planned in the coming months to launch audio features, including short-form audio clips called sound bites, plus a way for users to discover and play podcasts. He also said Facebook was exploring live audio rooms, taking on the buzzy audio-only app Clubhouse, which experienced explosive growth in the past year as more people stayed home. The app is a voice-only social media platform which allows users to chat or listen in on conversations. Facebook joins a host of social media companies that have announced audio features in recent months. Twitter, for example, is also testing its live audio feature Spaces. As part of the announcements, Zuckerberg also said Facebook is working with Spotify to make sharing content easier for musicians and listeners.
The tiny eastern Caribbean island of St. Vincent was blanketed by ash on Sunday, where authorities said the La Soufriere volcano erupted yet again in the late afternoon. Some 20,000 people have been evacuated from their homes since eruptions began last week, many staying in shelters in the island's capital, Kingstown. Layers of ash as thick as 8 inches have destroyed crops, contaminated water, killed animals, and devastated infrastructure, leaving some roads impassable and slowing down search and rescue. So far, there have been no reports of casualties or injuries, but many of the island's 100,000 residents are struggling with shortages. Several Caribbean neighbors have donated cots, food, masks, and respiratory tanks. St. Vincent's volcano was dormant for decades, with its last reported eruption in 1979. Officials have warned activity could continue for months.
And this was our last report. Thank you for watching and goodbye.